The Witcher 3 is one of my favourite games of all time, which I know is quite a rare opinion. No one's ever said that before on the internet. But with Cyberpunk releasing last year, it's now taken that role of feeling like that good boyfriend your mum had before she married your stepdad. It's welcoming, funny, emotional, addictive, warming, and isn't afraid to touch you on the gooch every now and then. Does it still hold up, and do I still love it 2,404 days later, however? Yes, of course I do. It's a fucking masterpiece. It's timeless. Welcome to the life of Geralt of Rivia, a slayer of monsters, a slayer of ghosts, a slayer of beasts, a slayer of pussy. This man cannot be stopped. In his off time, he enjoys warm baths and banging this brunette mage called Yennefer. Speaking of bangable, here's Vesemir, who's decided now is a good time for a kip when Geralt has left him in charge with his surrogate daughter, Ciri. Not only was this a dangerous decision because Ciri could have been kidnapped or eaten by a wild beast, napping in a lawn chair is a surefire way to long-term neck problems, Chief. Ciri, determined to master her training, is keen to show off her acrobatic skills like that annoying child at the family barbecue who does gymnastics. What a shame it would be if you landed that corkscrew front flip a little bit wrong and slipped a disc in your back, eh? Things go from wholesome to intense pretty quickly though, as when it starts snowing, a giant floating boat appears out of nowhere. But it's okay, it was just a dream. You see, Geralt's reality is a lot more depressing, as at night time he's not cuddling with Yennefer, he's spooning with Vesemir to sustain warmth. We are actually looking for Yennefer though, in this shitty little rundown village where I don't know why a mage who has the ability to teleport would choose here of all places to hang out. It's like being given the opportunity to go on holiday anywhere in the world and going, yeah, fuck it, we'll go Croydon. I'll tell you who does hang around here though. Absolute unit griffins who just devour horses for lunch. Old matey who owned the horse is of course devastated, but honestly, with a trim like that, I'd be crying too. Like and subscribe if you think bowl cuts should be brought back as the civilian norm. We pop into the local pub because bevies are on the house, and also to ask around about Yennefer's whereabouts. No one is more knowledgeable than a divorced, middle-aged dude who hangs out in a pub all day. I'm pretty sure they know everything there is to know apart from how to sustain an erection and make women orgasm. This bald dude tells me a Nilfgaardian scout has seen her recently, even going down to the details like how she smelled of lilac and gooseberries. Not sure why he knows what my girl's vagina smells like, but we'll blow over that detail for now. With the information we needed, me and the old Vesey boy exited the pub, but outside there was 3 dudes waiting to fight me, as apparently I'm a freak. This feels like school all over again. We get into a small tussle, but luckily for me, they all have chins worse than Cody Garbrandt, so I was able to wrap this up pretty swiftly. I couldn't help but notice though that one of the guys also had a cat defending him, which puts me at an unfair advantage. So you know I had to do it to him. I whip out the silver sword and hit a swift 31 crit on the cat, which wipes it out. I also find this kid who's either found his dad's speed stash, or he's on the biggest sugar rush of his life as he's just doing rings. So obviously I attempt to take his head off with a right hook, but he's protected due to being a child. This is bullshit. I don't want to kill the kids in a game, I just want to knock them out. Has no one ever considered parents? I mean, every now and then you must want to just knock out your child. Surely someone should make a game for that pure reason. Surely child abuse cases would be dropping by the millions. Or it would just increase child abuse, but that's a thin line that you've got to walk in order to make a brave new step for the world. Anyway, on my way to see the Nilfgaardian scout, I come across this woman who's honestly a bit of a baddie. I proceed to do 1 damage, then realise I am severely underleveled for this encounter, so I make a tactical exit on the northern west side into some bushes, also known as being a bitch. When I eventually arrive, I notice a small group of people doing push-ups on the beach, and it's nice to see Nilfgaardians value the mental and physical benefits of exercise. I meet old matey, and of course he's not just going to tell me where Yennefer is. No, I have to do a favour for him first. It wasn't exactly a small favour either, like taking his elderly mother grocery shopping or giving him a DIY vasectomy. No, he asked me to take out the griffin in the area. I mean, what do I look like? Someone who slays monsters for a living? Luring in a griffin is surprisingly close to luring in a stoner. You have to learn what star sign they are, information on their whereabouts, and then crack a herb nearby and they'll come running. I find a Nilfgaardian patrol who was slaughtered by the griffin and then follow the trail to the griffin's dead wife. Geralt makes an inappropriate observation about his shaft, which is unfair because you can't really judge someone's shaft when they're dead. It would appear they made love before the wife died, which sounds brutal, but is actually quite common in nature. Praying mantis, spiders, snakes, Ted Bundy, they all do it. With some information now gathered about the griffin, it was time to go get myself some herbs. It's weird how herbalists have gone from people in quaint cabins to the geezer in the flat below you who you play FIFA with and occasionally take his kid to school. The herbalist is a lovely person, but tells me that she doesn't actually have any buckthorn, which is what I need. However, there is some growing and a little river nearby. So before I go, I quickly admire her, herbs. then go for a quick dip without even changing into appropriate swim gear. Geralt mate, you're gonna catch a cold running around like this. Buckthorn acquired, and fresh out the water I hear an old woman calling for help. When I go over, she explains in a long-winded story that some man took her frying pan and it's now locked inside of this cabin. This is really what defines Geralt as a man. Yes, he might save villages from monsters. He might have a baddie like Yennefer. He might be one of the finest swordsmen in the land. But helping an elderly woman get her frying pan back shows his true values. There's a dude tied up and dead in the corner, but not my problem. My problem right now is returning the pan, which is exactly what I do. And of course, in true elderly woman fashion, she gives me some food in return. What are these double standards? When a sweet old lady offers you food, you kindly accept. But when I stand outside of school and offer people candy, apparently I'm trying to molest them. What the fuck? I go back to the pub to meet Vesemir, and while I've been out working hard, reclaiming pans, he's been sitting around getting the bevies in. He's picked out a nice spot of land for us to take on the Griffin, so I brew a couple of potions, which back in the 1200s were the original performance enhancers. Good thing this game isn't based in Russia, or they'd be all over me, getting nicked in the middle of a street for a fucking alchemy diagram. Vesey boy quickly whips up a fake looking sheep to lure the Griffin in, and if this whole being a Witcher thing ever gets old for him, he sure does have a future in an independent Etsy store selling fake sheep. The Royal Griffin is unsurprisingly quite an aggressive fighter, so it's a good thing I packed a couple loaves of bread in my bag. Yes, I might have a severe laceration due to its 10-inch claws, but a couple of slices of Hovis and I'll be fixed right up. The battle rages on for a fair while, but once low on HP, the Griffin retreats. I attempt to chase it down and roach, but unfortunately actually have some trouble mounting my horse, as someone at CD Projekt Red thought making the sprint button and interact button the exact same button was a good idea. Eventually my small brain figures it out, and we re-engage with the Griffin, eventually taking it down with the help of a tiny crossbow, which I'm sure made a huge difference. Geralt goes ahead and beheads the Griffin as proof it's been slain, and no, he doesn't use the giant sword on his back, he instead opts for the kitchen knife you'd use to cut up some vegetables. On my way back to the Nilfgaardian outpost, I noticed that the lads are still doing push-up. It's literally been hours. I thought they were just committed to staying in shape, but this is taking it too far. Muscle burnout is no joke. Before I talk to the main man himself, he's sending this peasant to get 15 lashes as punishment for rotten grains. It's weird how lashes used to be a punishment and now it's just a bedroom kink for girls whose dads left them when they were a child. He's pretty pleased that I got the job done, so in return for that he tells me Yennefer has actually been just in the next region over, a day's ride away this entire time. He then asks if I want to be paid for my work, and of course I want to be paid for my work. Do I look Turkish to you? I say that because when I went to Turkey a few years ago, it was my birthday and we was all really drunk at a restaurant, and this dude at the restaurant just drove us home. I tried to give him money, but he just refused to take it. It was one of the most wholesome moments of my entire life. I hope he's doing well and hasn't been like radicalized or something. So after a hard day's work, there's nothing better than a cold one with your boy in the pub. Well, there is actually, but I doubt anyone here has coke on them. What they do have, for sure though, is an attitude problem, as this woman disturbs the peace by bashing the barmaid's face into the bar, which seems unnecessarily aggressive. This then sparks a few lads to get rowdy with Geralt and Vesemir, and don't get me wrong, I've heard and experienced liquid courage before, but they really out here thinking that they can fight two witches with giant swords with their wooden clubs. A severe miscalculation on their part, and one which we just roughen them up a little bit for. No, I'm kidding. It gets extremely brutal and Geralt is out here dismembering heads right in the middle of this cute little pub. So leaving this poor woman who's just had her nose broken with 4 bodies and a fair bit of blood to clean up before she leaves work, Geralt and Vesey head outside and are greeted by none other than Yennefer herself. We've spent all this time looking for her and she decides to show up now when we've just murdered 4 probably fairly innocent dudes in the middle of a pub. It's not the best look for us. There was no time for chit chat though, as we had to ride for Vizima immediately. It was a chilled ride. We caught up, I told her I'd been dreaming about her and our white-haired child, and she didn't run away, so that's a positive. Out of nowhere, the peace is once again disturbed by these teleporting masked bony boys, and they slaughter everyone we're riding with. Yen gets them off our trail by destroying the bridge, which should really do a lot to stop people who can teleport. Why can everyone teleport in this game apart from Geralt? That seems really unfair on my boy. We somehow make it back to Vizima alive, and wow, what a turnaround this has been for Geralt. He went from helping elderly women get their pans back to being bathed by 3 women in a castle. He even gets a fresh shave while sitting in a bath towel that's honestly more like the size of a tea towel. Why is it so short? It's one of those risky ones where if he takes a seat you could easily just see full-blown ballsack, I mean especially for a guy at his age. It's like going to your mate's house and their dad's just walking around in a dressing gown and nothing else, and you're just on edge all the time about them possibly slipping out a ball. We hop into a tasteful black tunic and go and greet the king with a bow that looks more like he's suffering from severe heartburn. You really need to work on that form, Geralt. Anyway, a long cutscene short, he wants me to find his daughter Ciri, because apparently she's back. That's very vague information of to her whereabouts, but sure, I'll see what I can do, Chief. Maybe she's posted a couple cryptic return tweets on Twitter. So with all that professional business out the way, it's time to go to the reason why we're really here. Yennefer, and hitting them walls once again. She, however, says she doesn't have time and just leaves through a portal without me. I've fallen asleep mid-sex, so that must have been pretty bad, but having someone literally teleport to another part of the planet just to avoid intimacy with you, that's rough. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to see more Witcher, let me know down in the comment section below. I've wanted to make a video on this game for so long, but I just haven't because you've either played The Witcher and you love it, or you either just aren't interested, so no one really gives a shit. So I thought, before the new series comes out, it was the perfect time to do it. I'd really appreciate a like, it helps me out a ton, and if you find yourself here consistently, then consider subscribing as well. God, I'm so awkward at this, I hate asking people for things. But thank you guys for watching, I really do appreciate it. A big shout out as always to the Voiy Bois, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye. I just want to give a massive shout out to my motherload Voiy Bois and above, Gerardo Cruz, Björn van den Hatter, TheGamerTeg, zyfin Productions, and Ghost Warrior 38. Thank you guys for your support.